the first bit of advice that I'm going to give you today is they're not your friends. One night I was in this nightclub, like this bar, with my friends from university, and we were just like drinking before drinking before you go drinking. It's like a thing you do in UK where like it's called pre-drinks, where you'll drink in like a bar and then you go to a club to drink more, basically. So it's like very degenerate, it's haram and whatever. And I'm sat on this little table with like two of my male friends and like 2 to 3 of like the female friends. All of us live in like the same building. We go out, we drink, and we've even played like video games together. And when we hug each other at nighttime and we say, "Oh, I love you," and all this, right? And I get like a barrage of notifications on my phone on WhatsApp. It's my dad being kind of abusive. Like he's saying horrible shit to me. He's like threatening me, and he's saying this and this, and it's like a stressful thing for me. Like it's 10 p.m. We're all dressed nice, and I'm like all deregulated, seeing this message from my dad, like, "Oh, you're this, you're this, you're this, and I'm gonna do this," and it's stressing me out. So I do something which I very rarely did back then, which was that I opened up, because I kept on hearing that, right? Like, men should open up, right? So I open up and I said it to the friends, my best friends here. "Oh, I'm going through some shit. It's like, it's so annoying. It's so painful. I've had like this traumatic background and stuff." You should have seen the look on their faces. The look on their faces said something like, "Hamza, we don't really give a shit. You're making us feel uncomfortable. We're here to party." That's what the look on their faces said. All of them were just kind of like awkwardly like silent, like looking at me a little bit, looking away and stuff. And it was on that exact moment that I realized, like, you can go out and have fun with people taking drugs and drinking. You can go on Discord and play video games with someone and laugh till you cry, tears of laughter. And it's so weird because they're still not your friends. Like those kids that you knew from high school, the friendships that I had in high school as well, where we used to play video games together. You think you're friends because you hang out together, you live nearby each other, you kind of enjoy hanging out with them, and you laugh when you're with them. But real friendship is not just happy, feely emotions when you hang out with each other. There's a mixture, like a compatibility of values and genuine care for one another. And you become better. This is my own value for friendship, and I want to instill this onto you. I believe it is only friendship if you become a better person through being close to them. If you don't, that is not a friendship. It's kind of like an enemy. Most of the friends that you've had in your life are actually like enemies who have literally made you like a worse person. You're sleepy, and you say, "Oh, guys, I'm gonna go to sleep," and they say, "Oh, no, one more game. Just don't be a pussy, one more game." For us, like little video game nerds, that's what we had. For the guys who were more into the sort of drinking, partying culture, for them it was like, one more drink. Nah, don't go out. No, come on, come out with us. Come take drugs with us. It literally, like, these are not friends. People who are literally pressuring you to be a worse person and to deteriorate, they are not friends. They are literally enemies. And it's only when I said this to myself, and when I say this to young men when they ask me like, "Oh, I'm kind of lonely. The only friends I have, they just play video games. They're not serious about self-improvement." When I say they're not your friends, I often see like a light bulb moment where it's like you start to see all of the memories you have with them for what they really were, which a lot of it is like weird kind of bullying. Like when I think back to the happy days of high school when I was like hanging out with my friends and I thought we were all friends, when I look back with this new lens of like they weren't actually your friends, I see the racism, I see the bullying, I see the literal assault of like them. Like one friend used to fucking attack me and make me bleed. Another friend used to like punch me in class. And it's like you say that's like, oh, friendship, whatever. It's not. It's only when you look back with this new lens where you're like, oh shit, like that isn't friendship. It's not the kind of friendship that I want to have. I remember one day when I was playing League of Legends with like the 4 or 5 friends from high school, And one of them, I don't know what happened, like we were playing a game and maybe I stole his kill or some bullshit like that. And he removed me from the Skype call. So you probably haven't used Skype. It's kind of like Discord, but like I'm older than you, so it's like back in the day. And he removed me from the call. And when that happens, it's like you can't join back unless if someone adds you. And he probably told everyone in the call, don't add him back. So I play the rest of this entire fucking League of Legends game in like silence whilst they're all like laughing in the video call. And it's like I still the next day considered them to be my friends. When that's like exclusion. That's like literally a form of bullying. And they did this to each other, to me, to everyone. It's like when you make friends through proximity, which is basically you're friends with the people in your school, which is how most people have made their friends. They're often not very good people. They're often not very kind to you. I'm going to ask you this question and I want you to really think about it deeply.
What has 2 toppings and serves 2 hungry people?
Is it likely that your best friend just happens to go to the same school as you? Is that really likely? Or is it just that like the only friends most of us have ever made is just in school just because that's like the way that we were taught to make friends? Should we make friends from people we just happen to go to school with, even though their values are so different to ours? Even though, for example, none of them even go to the gym, none of them care about like reducing their screen time, being more productive, starting a business, none of them are on self-improvement. Or should we meet guys who are actually on self-improvement, who are living this life, who are getting better and better, going to the gym, being productive, being respectful, kind? Should we not be making friends based on our values? Of course we should. So there becomes this protocol, kind of like this strategy, because look, you want to meet a guy who's as committed on self-improvement as you are. I know you do. You want to meet a guy who's, for example, jacked in the gym. He hits PRs and he can hype you up in the gym, and he also starting businesses, and he also watches like educational podcasts, and he eats clean and all those things, right? You want to meet a guy who's as serious as you are. This is the hard part though. Guess what? He doesn't want to be friends with you. You know why? This is brutal, and girls and feminine guys never want to hear this. You're not good enough. The friends that you want to make, you know, the guys on self-improvement, the guy who goes to the gym, he does this and this, they want to be friends with guys who are as serious as them. You're not just there. You know why? Because of the fact that you are currently straddling, like you're currently holding on to the old friends. You still have contact with them. You still have like their banter. Like, you know, when you hang out with someone and you start picking up like your inside jokes, your banter, the way that you make jokes and everything. You're still influenced by those people who the real friend that you could have, the self-improvement friend, he will find it weird. You're in the middle right now trying to be friends with the self-improvement guy, like the guy who's serious, the jacked Chad, and the social guy, the businessman, the entrepreneur, and he doesn't want to be friends with you because the way you talk, the way you walk, the way you do everything is influenced by these guys that he thinks is a fucking loser. So you're like halfway of being a loser. So you're in this weird split where like you don't like these losers. You don't respect them. You hate the fact, like you think they're cringe. They don't even care about like living good, productive lives. You think that's fucking weird. So you don't want to be friends with them. You want to be friends with this guy, but since you haven't met any of these guys just yet, you still keep speaking to these guys, and every time you speak to them and interact with them, they influence you and change your behavior to the point that this guy doesn't want to be friends with you. So do you see this weird like bridge that you're on? You're stood in the middle of a bridge right now trying to go to this guy. He's pushing you away because you're still holding on to these losers over here. There becomes a brutal chapter of your life that you're about to go into, which is that you just need to go through this season where basically you'll have no friends. You cut off the old fucking losers, and through a period of your life, you just have almost no one because you're not eligible for these guys, you're sick of these guys, and you're in this like purgatory in the middle. It happened to me. It's happened to basically every single guy who's like serious on self-improvement. There was a period of time where we had like no friends, where we had to kind of readjust, learn our own values, reset like our humor, our banter, all those things with like solitude to learn what we actually like rather than what the hive mind of our old high school friendship group likes. That's when, after a few months of this, even a few years of this, you become eligible for those, like, you know, the Chads that you want to become friends with, the Adonises that you want to become friends with. This purgatory in the middle is fucking brutal. And I don't blame you if you're a fucking bitch and you just slip back and you just stay friends with these fucking losers over here. I don't blame you because I had the temptations of that myself. When I graduated from university, and it was COVID, it was the lockdown, and when I moved back home in 2020 to my parents' home, I had literally zero friends. I had, my old friends from university and I wasn't friends with them anymore. My old friends from high school, I wasn't friends with them. I even tried to. This was what's embarrassing. When I came back home, I messaged a few of these people and it was just like nothing was happening. I don't think they wanted to see me either. So it was like basically for months, I swear to God, for literally months, I had zero friends.
Have you got pensions from previous jobs? It feels so good.
I used to record what I used to call personal development vlogs. I was posting to YouTube as well, but these little videos I wouldn't post anywhere. They was just on my phone. And I kind of check in with myself like every week, every 2 weeks, how life is going. And it makes me so sad because everyone, when I sometimes rewatch them, every single one, it starts with me saying like, hey, personal development vlog, week 3. Self-improvement's going really good. I feel awesome, but the thing that's lacking is my social life. I've got no fucking friends and I feel really lonely. I miss my friends from high school. I miss my friends from university. I don't really miss them, but I miss connection. And I felt like such a weird little autist. Like I'd walk around my area, I'd see people who were in their groups of friends and it would almost stun me to think like, shit, like people like go to the park with their friends. Like how can you have there was like a group of like 10 people. How can you have like that many friends? That was crazy. One day I was walking through this park and there was 2 guys playing with this like frisbee thing, like this cat, they're playing catch or something. And when it kind of landed towards me, like in a movie, basically, like a movie, I picked it up, threw it back. And we played for a little bit and, it was like fun and whatever. I got their number, one of the guys' phone number. I went home. I was like, oh, I've made some friends. They were kind of cool. They're not really on self-improvement, but it's fine. There's still it's still some social connection. And when I text one of them to like hang out again, he just didn't reply, which is fine. I understand it happens, whatever. But like, I walked past them again afterwards and it was so awkward. And I understand why. Why these kinds of people don't like us? Because the truth is, bro, we're judgmental motherfuckers. When you get on self-improvement, it's very hard not to judge these fucking normies and to think like, yeah, it's funny hanging out with you guys, but like, why are you living life like this? Like, how can you live with yourself and you fucking vape? How can you like not know about like reducing your screen time and like not being a fucking retard, like, wanting to grow a business or a career and studying? Like, how do you not do these things? How do you have no desire to live a better life? We're judgmental motherfuckers because we've set high standards now that we're on this path, and most people are just not like that. So that's what life looks like for us right now. We've gotten onto self-improvement. Maybe you've been on this path for like 6 months, maybe 12 months or so, and you're probably straddling between these two kind of like goals. You need to cut these people off. And it's brutal because there's just this purgatory. I had to go through it. You had to go through it. Your day one of moving on from these guys completely could be today, and it also could be 6 months from now if you just want to procrastinate this decision. But at one point, you're gonna not be friends with those old people so that you can become eligible and like a new version of yourself for the real people that you want to become friends with. So I want to give you some excitement here. Rather than making this all depressive, like, oh yeah, you're gonna be lonely, I want to give you some excitement of a goal that I can give you, that you can set for yourself. This is the type of goal that you can literally write down and put it on your wall like I've done here. And the goal is, what you could write this down: live with brothers. I want you to ditch the idea of like friend, because that word friend has been destroyed by our experiences in high school, where like we've been friends with fucking retards. So our like definition of friendship's all fucked up, right? I want you to have a new word which you use instead of friends, which is brothers. And I want you to define brothers as a guy who's serious on self-improvement, who shares a lot of the similar values as you do, and he's genuinely like a nice, kind, caring person. He's a respectful person. He has great character. That's what we'll define as a brother. Then the other part of this goal wasn't just, meet some brothers, accumulate brothers or anything, but it was to live with them. So you could be young right now, maybe you're 16 years old, so living with someone seems odd. But at some point in your life, within the next like 2 years, for basically everyone watching this, unless you're like 12 or whatever, but if you're like 18 years old, it's not crazy to think you could live with roommates in the next year or 2 years. It's literally cheaper to do this as well, right? Imagine living in the same house or the same villa or the same apartments with other guys who are as serious on self-improvement as you are. Imagine like you're sleeping and randomly one of them walks into your room and he's like, wake up bro, it's 5 a.m, let's go do push-ups, let's go do this, let's meditate, come on, we're gonna make this business. And imagine just how fucking like lively your life is gonna feel compared to eventually when you like move out of your parents' home. Most guys just live by themselves and they just live this like weird, quiet little life up until they get a girlfriend, and then they just become this weird like feminine little soy boy spending time with her and giggling and stuff.